This is Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. From the corporate office to the cab of a truck, they're here to inspire and empower women in all professions. So gear down, sit back, and enjoy.
Welcome. We're an award-winning show dedicated to empowering women in every profession through inspiring stories and expert insights. No topics off limits on our show. We power women on the road to success with expert and celebrity interviews and information you need. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Kathy.
Can you imagine transforming your life and empowering yourself with quantum physics? I read somewhere that quantum physics is defined as the study of energy and matter at the most basic level. Quantum science was first discovered in the late 1800s and defied our understanding of classical physics. This science reveals how everything in the universe is connected. Shenal Arimilli melds quantum physics, neuroscience, human physiology, and psychology to transform lives. She believes we're co-creators of our own miracles, and she shows people how. She covers everything from health and wellness to career and abundance and spiritual development with her Create Your Own Reality Academy. Shenal is a 3-time cancer thriver and a true warrior. She's been featured on Amazon Prime Video Season 3 of Speak Up. She's a highly sought-after speaker and the co-author of the international bestseller, Cracking the Rich Code, with success coach Jim Britt and Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington. That book has been endorsed by Tony Robbins. As an intuitive life mentor, Shenal received the 2018 Exceptional Woman of Excellence Award at the International Women's Economic Forum. She's an amazing lady with equally amazing insights that we wanted to tap into. We have her on the show with us. Welcome, Shenal. Thank you for being with us.
Well, Shelley and Kathy, thank you for having me, and thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Well, thank you. I find you amazing.
I'm sitting here with my jaw dropped, like, my goodness.
Absolutely. You know, Shenal, your insights are revolutionary, and it's not something most people would even think of, especially when thinking about quantum physics, which most people don't understand. If you wouldn't mind going into it, what's your background and how did you arrive at this unique combination of ways to empower people?
Ooh, what a loaded question, and I would love to answer that. So I did not arrive doing what I'm doing in a straight line. And I hope that others can continue to remain inspired and motivated to move when the line is not straight in life. Like, we have to be willing to take the twists and turns that help us to arrive where we really can excel. So I did what so many kind of first generation Indian parents from East India, so basically from India. I was born there at 3, came here to the United States. So I was raised here. And like all Indian parents, you know, education was number one. And so that's what I did. I studied, I did all the extracurriculars, I excelled in everything I could. I went to UC Berkeley. I studied human physiology. I went on to get my master's in physical therapy, so I was just very driven from the very beginning, and loved human sciences, loved how the body works, loved just human behavior, and so that's kind of what led me to becoming a clinician. And like I said, not a straight line. I was practicing clinically, and then I ended up doing corporate healthcare, landed under a CEO at a really young age. And success was just coming kind of easy. And I'm saying this because you'll see the rest of the story. And I think it's relevant because maybe many of us have hit success moments and then we've plummeted before we rise again. And so I was very successful at a very young age. And everything in my life looked pretty perfect, like really pretty perfect. Married to an incredible, handsome man, 2 beautiful children, a little girl and a little boy, climbing the corporate ladder, doing all the right things, living in a beautiful home, etc. And then I was diagnosed with cancer. And so talk about yet another turn in my life, just twists and turns here and there. But I was devastated, like most people are. But it didn't make sense. Like, really didn't make sense, because I was really lean, fit, active, healthy. And I was doing all the things anyone would do to live a long, healthy life. So this cancer diagnosis not only devastated me, but it confused the heck out of me. Like, why? What is this about? Now, I did have a lineage history of cancer, but I tested negative for the gene, so we realized it wasn't genetic. But what I realized is that I didn't inherit a gene, I inherited unhealed patterns. And so in my very outside perfect life, I was actually a perfectionist and a people pleaser and really not living very authentically at all. An overachiever, no time for myself, probably a common story for many people who have touched success in different ways. Then through the cancer journey, when nothing I was doing was working, everything integrative, from MDs to surgery to some chemotherapy to integrative medicine to detoxing and juicing. And I was doing everything. In those first few years, I was having recurrences. And so it pushed me into digging a little deeper. So I took what I learned in science and I started digging further into what is this mind-body connection? What is energy healing? I didn't understand what energy healing was either. And now I realize everything is energy. And which is what you opened the show with, which is, my goal is not to share with people the nitty gritty details of quantum physics, because it will bore most people and they'll drop off. But my goal is to help people understand that there is a science behind our power to change, and there is a science behind our power to create miracles. And there's also age-old wisdom, which is consciousness and spirituality and the soul and how all of this is integrated. So in a very long nutshell, I just basically am sharing with you that what I studied and what I'm doing now, yes, I'm using pieces of it, but truly I think I've transformed my entire career, my life trajectory. And when I was not, quote unquote, supposed to heal, I was pretty advanced, 11 years into my cancer journey. They were hoping to maybe buy some time for me. I had done so much deep emotional, spiritual, mental, mind-body, psychology healing. It just all working with energy, looking at my soul's past, looking at my ancestral past, looking at patterns unhealed, looking at emotions and the thoughts that drive those emotions, and really learning to go beyond understanding it and actually learning how to transmute it. And so when I wasn't supposed to be here is when the miracle finally happened. And so I'm years post out from that. And not only am I healthier and happier than I've ever been, but I'm also running an entirely different and incredibly successful and thriving career. So if I can do it, and I want to say this with so much gusto, if I can do it, you can do it. Anyone can do it, because we're all made from the same fabric. And so, yeah, that's what's led me to what I'm doing today.
That's amazing. We can't wait to learn more and tap into your insight.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. I have one question for you. Do you want to stop worrying about the IRS? If the answer is yes, then look no further. I've been around for years. I've helped countless people across the country, and my success rate speaks for itself. So now you know where to find good, honest help with your tax problems. What are you waiting for? If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or haven't filed in years, call me now at 888-557-4020 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com for a free consultation and get your life back.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
If you're enjoying this informative episode of Women Road Warriors, I wanted to mention Kathy and I explore all kinds of topics that will power you on the road to success. We feature a lot of expert interviews. Plus, we feature celebrities and women who've been trailblazers. Please check out our podcast at womenroadwarriors.com and click on our episodes page. We're also available wherever you listen to podcasts, on all the major podcast channels like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, you name it. Check us out and bookmark our podcast. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, and other sites. And tell others about us. We want to help as many women as possible. Imagine this. What if you could transform your life using the principles of quantum physics? It might sound like science fiction, but it's real. And Shenal Arimilli is living proof, a 3-time cancer thriver. Shenal is a transformational leader who merges quantum science, neuroscience, human physiology, and psychology to help people create lasting change. She believes we're co-creators of our own miracles. And through her Create Your Reality Academy, she empowers people to tap into their full potential, covering everything from health and wellness to career, abundance, and spiritual growth. You may have seen her on Amazon Prime Video Speak Up, or read her work in the international bestseller, Cracking the Rich Code, co-authored with Jim Britt and Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington. It's endorsed by none other than Tony Robbins. Shenal has also been honored with the Exceptional Woman of Excellence Award at the International Women's Economic Forum. She has been giving us a wealth of information. Shenal, you offer so many resources and education for people.
You have the Create Your Reality Academy, but you cover so many different things. I guess a lot of people are like, okay, what is this all about? How do we tap into this? And what is exactly Shenal doing that we should be doing?
So, I don't, and I truly believe this, so I'm saying this with all my heart. There is not one way. There is not one thing that you have to do. There are many ways to change the way we are currently living and experiencing life. The key is, and I'm a big metaphor person, so I'm going to use some metaphors if hopefully that will be helpful.
Sure.
A lot of people are awakening to this concept of positive thinking, positive affirmations. And while I am a firm believer in them, I feel that it's unfortunate that it's kind of become this new age, just think positive, it'll be fine. And I tried that. And while it is important, it's also important not to plant seeds of flowers in a bed of weeds, because we don't do that. We don't,
That's well said.
Yes, it is.
I love it.
I do too.
right? If we all truly have a garden of life, which we do, and there are great things. I mean, even when our life seems like it's utterly falling apart, maybe we have a roof over our head and, lunch to eat, and maybe someone knocks on our door and checks in on us. No matter where we are, there are going to be some flowers in our garden. But for many of us, we've gotten so programmed into living the very hurried, busied life, and we just keep going, that we don't pay attention. Like, we want to turn a blind eye. We want to pretend it doesn't exist. We want to whack the weed off at the surface in the garden. And then we wonder why it's come back again. I mean, that's just how weeds grow. You got to get it down at the root. So when you talk about what is Shenal doing that could be helpful for others, is I'm learning how to heal from the root and not from the surface. And so it is deep healing. But the intention is to create lasting changes rather than spinning our wheels, continuing to work hard and still feel like we're in the same place. So,
And that's really tough to do.
Yeah, and I'm speaking from experience. I spent a total of 2 years in this women's recovery center. It was faith-based, and it was, a really intense recovery, Monday to Friday, 9 to 4. And the first time I went, I spent, what, 9, 10 months, and I did some deep, deep healing, and I thought, "Okay, I got this," right? And then I left, and within 2 weeks, I had relapsed with alcohol, and I'm falling right back into old patterns, and I'm like, "Well, I did all the work. I don't get it. I don't understand." So when I went back to the women's center, that's when I realized, "Oh, I dealt with the easy ones," right? The deeper ones were like, "Oh, okay, right, I forgot about that." And so it took a total of 2 years of deep cleansing, and it's interesting you talk about the weeds and the roots because part of the program was every Monday from May to September, we had to go to this giant garden, and we had to plant and de-weed, and, I mean, you're on your knees and you're working through your stuff, but they called me, the Tasmanian devil because I was I was whacking those weeds so hard. But I was working through my trauma. And it's so true, but it takes courage to look at those roots and to pull them out and to say, "You know what? I'm done with you, and you are no longer in my garden. See ya."
absolutely. Man, Kathy, first of all, hats off to you for the courage to do the deep work. And yes, I tell people all the time, this is not about, you're not going to come to somebody who's just going to talk to you about doing some positive affirmations. We will do that because they hold frequency. So this might be a great time for me to talk about a little, it's my simplified version of why we can all change. And so I'm going to talk about energy for a very brief moment. May I do that?
Absolutely.
So everything in the universe is energy. This is the science that is now actually just catching up with age-old wisdom. So if everything is energy, well, let's talk about that. What do we mean by everything? Well, I'm talking about the body. Yes, your body. Yes, every cell. Yes, even your DNA is energy. Now, why does that matter? Your thoughts, your emotions, your bank account is energy. Your relationship with somebody is energy. Everything is energy. Well, what's important for us to know about energy, and again, I like to bring deep spiritual and physical wisdom to practicality, because if it's not practical, it's not usable. So, why is it important for us to understand that everything is energy? Because what we know about energy is that it can't be created and it can't be destroyed, but it can be transformed from one state to another. So that's an Albert Einstein quote: energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be changed from one state to another. So we'll give you another metaphor. Let's run with this one because, Kathy, thank you for tying in the garden metaphor. It was perfect into real life. So let's see how one of you will choose to tie this one in, or I will. So I want you to understand. So many people, whether I'm in a workshop with people, in a retreat, or doing private work, will say, "Oh yes, I know. Yeah, no, oh no, I know that. Oh yes, I've seen that about my past. Oh yeah, my mom was like that. My dad was like that. I know. I've seen that. Oh yeah, I know. But my life hasn't changed." So if we look at the ice cube metaphor, I want you to imagine that within you is a freezer, and inside the freezer are a bunch of ice cubes. And every time, those ice cubes could have been there for lifetimes. They could have been there for generations, passed down, unchanged. They could be there from this lifetime. So they've accumulated these, ice cubes of stuff like unresolved traumas, buried emotions, thoughts, patterns, that we've learned for survival. And so if we have a freezer full of ice cubes that are cold, dense, hard, and we open the freezer 1,000 times and we look at them, we look at those ice cubes, oh yeah, I remember that trauma. Oh God, that was a bad time of life. And then we close the freezer. We have done part of the work, which is to see it, which is to become aware of it. That's a part of the healing. But unfortunately, many people stop there. And remember what I said, energy cannot be created or destroyed. So that energy of the ice cube remains, no matter how many times we see it, until We have the courage to actually begin taking the ice cube out of the freezer and holding it in the warmth of our hands and heart, and immediately what begins to happen?
It melts.
Yes, it moves through the transformation. So seeing our past, understanding it is a big part of our healing. It's beautiful, but it's not complete until we learn how to transform that energy. Because remember, energy stays the same. An unprocessed emotion remains an unprocessed emotion inside of us, held within our energy field and held within our body at some point. And so when we're having challenges in our relationships, our bank account, or in our body, we just have ice cubes. We have energy that is stuck, trapped, and it's not flowing. And nature has created life, everything down from our DNA and our cellular structures and the circulation that flows in our body. Everything is to flow. And if we're not flowing through those emotions, we're stifling them, sticking them in, or the thoughts or the patterns, we've just kept the energy as it is. Maybe for a later time, it'll creep in again. People will be like, well, I worked on it and it was gone, but it came back. Well, that was like my recurrences until I continued the deeper healing. So, yeah, we have to have the courage not just to see, but to actually heal, to actually transform the energy. And that's where I think the deepest healing comes from.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
If you've ever wondered what it really means to take charge of your life at the deepest level, you'll relate to our powerful guest. Shenal Arimilli is a powerhouse in the world of transformation. She blends quantum physics, neuroscience, and intuitive wisdom to help people completely rewrite their reality. From surviving cancer 3 times to becoming an award-winning mentor and international speaker, Shenal's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Her Create Your Reality Academy dives into everything from wellness and wealth to relationships and spiritual growth, because she knows it's all connected. There's a science behind creating miracles. It's a matter of not planting seeds of flowers in a bed of weeds in the garden of life. You also have to heal from the root and not from the surface. It's important to remember everything is energy that can be transformed. It's a matter of us having the courage to change that energy. That's where the deepest healing comes from. Shenal has been featured on Amazon Prime Video Speak Up, co-authored the bestseller Cracking the Rich Code with Jim Britt and Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, and even earned the praise of Tony Robbins. Stick around, because Shenal's about to drop some more serious insight on how to become the co-creator of your own miracles. Shenal, your insight is super insightful.
I know that you talk about creative intelligence to do the complicated, and you also have something called the ATM process, awakening, transformation, and manifestation. Is that really part of this whole symbiotic relationship, if you will, the process that people have to go through to finally get to the point where they want to be?
I'm going to say with a resounding yes, that is true. Again, I don't claim that I am, there's so many ways to get there, but I believe that this ATM method that I had created, or I have created, is the ATM method to creating and living an abundant life. And there is no pun intended. ATM is for awakening. And so what are we awakening to? So this is kind of what we talked about. We start to awaken to the challenge. We start to see it. We start to say, whoa, life just isn't crappy. I'm starting to see that there's a pattern in me that needs to heal. That's an awakening. or awakening to our power, which exists within us. And so there's layers of this awakening, and many of us have done bits and pieces of that along the way. And then there's sometimes a pivotal moment in our life that awakening becomes so apparent that we now really feel ready to move into phase 2, which is the transformation. And like Kathy said, that's where a lot of courage comes in, because we have to roll up our sleeves, we have to get our hands dirty, we have to be willing to see the truth and be able to heal without holding on to the anger, the resentment, and the rage, because all of those will hurt us before they hurt anyone else. So it's courage. And that phase 2 is the transformational phase. And the phase 3 is the manifestation phase, which truly we're all living in phase 3 all the time. We're all manifesting all the time. And I would love to dispel this concept, because a lot of people are like, oh, I would love to manifest. Like, oh, I want to be a better manifester. Well, we're all manifesting. Unfortunately, we often manifest based on the energy we have carried forward from our soul's past, our ancestral past, and our own past. And so that energy is what magnetizes, through the law of resonance, what it is that we attract. So we're constantly manifesting. We are constantly creating. The challenge is not to become a manifester or a creator. The challenge is to become an intentional, conscious manifester and creator, where we're now saying, oh, I didn't realize I was holding so much hate towards myself and hate towards others that I buried that inside, and I created so much inflammation in my body that I've created a cancer. I didn't realize that I created this. And of course, people would be like, what are you talking about? I never created the divorce, and I never created, it was him, and it was the environment. We give our power away to everything and everyone all the time. It was my mom's fault. It was my parents' fault. It was my husband or my ex, and every time we do that, we have literally said, here, take my power. I'll be the victim. And a creator and a victim cannot coexist. Like a conscious creator and a victim cannot coexist. So when we're ready to stop the blame game and we're ready to take back our power, we're literally ready to say, you know what? What within me can I change? Now, they don't have to talk about energy in order to change. You can just say, what do I have to change in me that has attracted this reality, that has created this reality? Because if I created this, what's really cool is I could create something else, because I'm so powerful and I've lost touch with that power. So we're all manifesting. We're all doing phase 3. Unfortunately, we're just doing phase 3, and we're forgetting to look at actually coming to phase 1, awakening to the truth, awakening to our power, and then moving into T, which is the transformation phase. And as we transform energy, my goodness, manifestation starts to move towards us with more ease, because we are literally vibrationally aligning. So the same chemo that could have nearly did kill me at the beginning of my 11-year journey, I had a more advanced form of chemotherapy 11 years later, after I had done deep healing. And literally, they thought it might shrink, it might heal a little bit, maybe we can buy some time. And it was gone.
Wow.
So it's because I became aligned internally, where no matter what I was going to do, I was in alignment with the energy of vitality, health, longevity, life itself. Whereas I wasn't for so long, that it didn't matter that somebody could give me a magic pill. I energetically could not receive it. So when I get so passionate that I could keep going, but I'll take a moment to pause.
That's really powerful. And there's a lot to digest there, certainly, and unpack. How does this all relate to quantum physics? Is it because it's all about energy and us harnessing the proper energy and getting it to flow properly?
Yes. So I will say, maybe let's put it into 2 ways to look at this. If we, again, simplify the concepts of quantum physics so we don't feel like, because anyone can do this. You don't have to understand quantum physics to heal and transform. You just have to know there's a science behind it and there's a spiritual essence behind it. But the two main things I would say is one, yes, what we know is everything is energy. So if we can transmute that energy of thoughts, emotions, our patterns, our traumas, which we absolutely can, and so many of the people I work with do, we can create healings. We can create amplified flow of money. We can change relationships, fall in love more deeply. There's so many things can happen when we realize that the work that we're doing is actually changing our energy. And when our energy changes, we have a new frequency in a new vibrational state, which will then draw towards us the things that we really want. So that's one. The other part of quantum physics is that we live in a unified field of consciousness. That sounds fancy, and I know you alluded to it at the beginning, so thank you for weaving that in so masterfully in the opening. But we live in a unified field. What does this mean? So you also mentioned, Shelley, this concept of what if I could do the simple and something else could do the complicated? So let's do this together with everyone. Let's all take a moment to take a nice deep breath or two. Now, for the most part, your participation in taking a breath in and out is relatively simple, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can we also agree that breath is what sustains life on Earth?
Yes.
Yes. Everything needs oxygen for sure.
Absolutely. So if we don't breathe, we're not going to be here, period.
Mhm.
Okay. So we know that the simplicity of breathing actually is creating the complexity of living. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when I was in the depths of despair, literally bawling my eyes out, scared, I sat on a couch at home, for many hours because I was so immobile. And I literally cried out, why is this so complicated? Now we can take that to physical healing, relationships, starting a business, thriving in a business, money, whatever. Why is this so complicated? And I got a voice that was so clear. Now, mind you, this is many years ago. I didn't understand quantum physics. I didn't understand energy healing. And that voice said, it is you and all of humanity that has complicated these things. I was like, what? And so then the voice said, take a deep breath and let it go. And I did. And then the voice said, was that hard? And I was like, no. Literally having a conversation with this voice. And then the next thing I heard was, precisely. You see, this has been created. You have been created. You live in a field of intelligence where you are intended to do the simple, and the complicated is intended to be left to the intelligence in the universe that lives in the universe, which also lives in every cell of our being. So when we think about our breath, it is simple to breathe, but the complicated part of how that oxygen gets to 60 trillion cells in our body and enlivens us, that's not ours. None of us actually do that. I don't know how the gas exchange happens in my alveolar sacs in my lungs. I know it happens, but I don't know how. I don't do it. When we truly become the creators and the manifestors in our true power, unified with source and creative intelligence, our ability to work through and navigate life becomes more easeful. All this hard work, all the struggle, and all the intense pain that many of us have felt or are feeling now is because there are layers that we have accumulated that have kept us separate from this source and this wisdom and this intelligence. Whether it's ancient, the ancient thousands of years ago where the churches came into play and people started believing that there was a God outside of us, not within us. Or we all started to see each of us as individuals rather than integrated beings. We started to find over thousands of years more and more separation. And right now in humanity, which is why I think the world is under major contraction right now, and all the people in the world are feeling the contraction, because we're all being called to give birth to the true, authentic version of who we really are versus the misunderstandings and the separated illusion that we live in. So we have to start peeling away those layers that have kept us from source intelligence or God consciousness or the quantum field of intelligence. To me, it's all the same. I have reverence for this intelligence no matter what name we give it. And so yes, that healing is underneath everyone's healing, is healing the separation from source.
Basically, it's tuning in to your deeper inner resources. The ultimate source of all truth lies within every one of our hearts.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Kathy.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
If you've ever asked yourself what it really means to take control of your life from the inside out, you're going to love this next segment. Our guest, Shenal Arimilli, is a 3-time cancer survivor turned international speaker, award-winning mentor, and expert in deep transformation. She blends quantum physics, neuroscience, and intuitive wisdom to help people rewrite their reality. She believes true transformation begins at the root. She has something she talks about called the ATM method to create an abundant life through an awakening to our power and becoming a conscious manifester and creator of our own reality. Shenal did it herself by being in alignment with vitality, energy, and life itself. If we can transmute the energy of our traumas, we can change our energy, frequency, and vibrational state to draw towards us the things we really want. This is what she teaches. Through her Create Your Own Reality Academy, Shenal guides people in healing not just the surface, but the source. Because real change happens when we transform energy itself. Shenal, in our last segment, we covered how we've lost touch with the universal intelligence over thousands of years, which has distorted our reality and our ultimate transformation and potential. Could you dive a bit deeper into that and how we can transform ourselves?
You know, we talk about living an authentic life, and so I like to bring the physical laws of the universe and the spiritual laws of the universe together to create practical changes in our life and real life changes and real life miracles that we co-create. And we talk about an authentic life, and it's valuable at the physical dimensional level, meaning day to day, when we talk about living authentically, we talk about what? Maybe speaking truth, be authentic with your feelings, set healthy boundaries. These are ways to show up authentically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Follow your heart and not somebody else's. That's an authentic form of living. So these are authentic ways to live in our 3-dimensional world, and that's beautiful, powerful healing that many people are undergoing right now in their personal development journeys. I like to take it to one level further, which is what I would call maybe a truly authentic life. And that is, yes, we speak our truth, we set boundaries, we follow our heart, but a truly authentic life is to remember the power that lives within us, because within us is a healer, and within us is a creator. And that, I believe, is the true, authentic people that we are. And that comes when we dissolve the separation between who we think we are and who God is or what the universe is, and we begin to dissolve the differences between the two, and we merge into the quantum field. Now, we look the same. I look the same. We look the same, but how we tap in and work with that field of intelligence is different.
So we're becoming more interconnected.
Precisely, Shelley. And interconnected, oh goodness, what a great word. We're interconnecting the physical reality with the multidimensional reality. Like, what else is out there in the universe? We're becoming interconnected between our thoughts and our emotions. We're becoming interconnected between our head, which thinks, and our heart, which feels. We're becoming interconnected with this field of consciousness and realizing that when I see the divine in you, I'm seeing the divine in me. But when I see the devil in somebody or the evil in somebody, I'm actually only seeing the evil and the devil in me.
Wow.
So if we're truly interconnected, how I see someone else is really just a reflection of how I see me.
Interesting.
Yeah, so pretty exciting and fascinating information, but truly to just know that we can create miracles. Like, we all have the capacity to create miracles no matter where we are in this moment. And I don't say it's always easy, but I say it's possible.
I love how you say we co-create miracles.
Yeah, we do, right? Because we have to participate. If we don't breathe, the intelligence isn't going to be able to do the rest for us. If we don't take inspired action to build our business, but also trust and work with that intelligent field, we're not going to be able to build the business. We still have to participate. If we don't make love to have a baby, we're still not going to get pregnant. Like, there is a co-creative experience here. We're not going to sit on the couch and say, all right, you know what, God, field, go take care of it. I'll just sit here and do the easy, you do the hard. It's co-creative. Like, we have to still breathe. We have to chew food and swallow, but the digestion isn't ours. So how do we learn to take inspired action rather than working hard is something I teach a lot. And I continue to have to practice this for myself. So, I'm not exempt from the journey. I'm in it. We all are. We all are. And I don't believe that miracles land in our lap. I don't think they land in our lap because we're good enough and because we earned it and because, we deserve it. I believe miracles land on our lap because we choose to co-create them. I mean, we're already worthy. We're already deserving.
You know what? You're so right. I was standing drunk and homeless. I'd lost my 13-year nursing career. And I'm standing there with this guy named Toothless Joe. And it was a moment of clarity. Had that guy told me that there's a miracle waiting for you right around that corner, go get it, I'd have laughed him off that sidewalk. I'm like, yeah, right. Because I wasn't in a good frame of mind. But when I was standing there and I looked at him and he had slapped me on the back and he's like, this is the life, live it, love it. It was the most profound moment of clarity I've ever had. It's like time slowed and decades of depression and despair just shattered, like just in a billion pieces. And I saw crystal clear for the first time in my life. And I'm looking at him and the words I'm trying to process what he said. And I'm like, what did you just say? And I said, this is not my life. I've always known there's a bigger purpose to my life. And standing beside that guy, drunk and homeless with nothing, I said, this is not it. I don't know what it is, but this isn't it. And so even though I had nothing and I had and I didn't know what my next step was, I had no plan. I just turned around and I went to detox and I took every step from there. And the miracle was around the corner. But like you just said, I had to take the steps to go get it. I had to co-create that miracle because everything I've done since that moment in 2011 has led me to be sitting here talking to you.
Kathy, that makes my heart so happy. I love it. I absolutely love it. Those pivotal moments are so incredibly intense and sometimes so scary and sometimes so shattering, but they are truly the catalyst that exist in order for us to walk through that greatness or the gateway to greatness. And I love your story, and I have to share this one story because I think it's also, it's all very much about how much we give away our power. And So again, in the depths of despair, I was laying this time on another couch in another moment, and I was working with a healer because at that time I kept looking for the healer who was going to heal me. And I was laying on the couch and she was doing her thing on Zoom. She was this sought out healer. She was doing this thing on Zoom, and 3 sessions in, we're in the next session now, and I was just laying there again, about 85 pounds, in pain, really frail, very vulnerable, and dependent. And she just blurted out, "Oh my God, I can't work with you anymore because you're going to die." And something in me, this was my moment of pivot where I literally, excuse the language, you can bleep it out if you need to, but no way is anyone going to tell me that I'm not going to be here. And it was the same when it was the statistics that were given to me. Like, I just walked into offices, doctor's offices, don't give me the statistic because I'm going to choose to be the one I'm creating anyway. I don't want to know. Don't give it to me. And because I'd heard them before and it wasn't helpful for me. And that moment was a moment where I said, nobody has the power to determine my destiny but me.
Amen. Wow.
Yep.
Yep.
And it does take courage, like what you had to do and what I've had to do. And Shelley, I know you've had your stories, and we all have it in us. And I tell people just are like, I'm too afraid. And I said, you know what? So was I, and I still healed. I was not without fear. I had fear, but what I did is I constantly tapped in and I reached in and I grabbed about 1 ounce more of courage than I had of fear. That's all I could do. Like, okay, I'm really afraid. I've got these little kids sitting in front of me, my husband. I'm so scared. I've tried everything, but I would continue to pull into that courage. And we all have it in us. All of us can create magic and miracles if we're willing to go through the awakening, go through the transformation, and learn how to really, truly manifest.
You're providing hope for so many people. This is just amazing. People are going to be asking, how do I do this? Are there some takeaways for the ladies out there who are listening? And how do they reach out to you, Shenal?
Okay, great questions. Let me give you a little takeaway for those who just want a tool. So I teach the cup of tea, T-E-A. It's a great place to begin, T-E-A. So the cup of tea. So ladies, if you've been dealing with a challenge, you're going to reach for your old cup of tea, and you're going to start looking at your T, which is thoughts, your E, which are emotions, and A, which are actions. And you're going to start jotting them down. What thoughts have I had about my body or my business that have held me back? What are my thoughts? What are my emotions? And what actions or inactions have I taken or not taken? And you're going to start looking at your old cup of tea, because until we start really brutally, honestly looking at the cup of tea, our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, they could have been from childhood, adolescence, present day, our parents, it doesn't matter. When we want to change consciousness, we have to change our thoughts, emotions, and actions. And so then you start looking at, how could I look at a new cup of tea? How could I change that one thought? How could I change this one emotion? How could I change this one action? And we begin the journey of elevating consciousness by changing our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. They all work together. You can't go and heal emotions without understanding why you have them. And there has to be a thought that drives those emotions. Nobody is just angry, but they may be angry because they're not heard. Nobody is just sad, but they may be sad because they were dismissed. But we have to understand the thoughts, the emotions, and the actions, and we can begin changing. So that's a tool for all the listeners. It's free and it exists for all of us. So an old cup of tea and a new cup of tea, and you can do that frequently. You can grab a journal book and start.
I really like that.
I do too.
Thank you. And like I said, I love taking complex ideas and making them practical and usable so that we can transform. Because if not, it's just information. And my job is to take information to transformation beyond your imagination. So that's one tool. And then there are so many ways that people can deepen the work. My website is my name, ShenalArimilli.com. I can spell it if you'd like, or it'll just be available. Okay, it's SHENAL Arimilli, ARIMILLI.com. And the website has access to booking an introductory session. There's a free ebook. There's some, you can sign up and then get just access information that I share for free in my mailers. They can go to Shenal Arimilli's Create Your Reality Academy, where there are some free master classes, some free guided meditations. There is a very, very inexpensive way to sign up for the Circle of Co-Creators, which is a membership platform. It's $99 right now for a whole year of pre-recorded master classes for healing, guided meditations, energetic clearings. So there's low price points. And then, when you're really ready to turn your life around and you want that mentor to illuminate the path for you and to really help you to intuitively know what's holding you back, there are private mentorship packages as well. So many ways to get to where we want to go, but it begins with taking the desire, beginning to believe it's possible, and taking small actions in that direction.
That is powerful.
Shenal, what is your website again?
It's ShenalArimilli.com. That's ShenalArimilli.com. And there's an email ID there that they can access from the website. But super exciting stuff. I love what I do. I love witnessing the miracles that happen all around me with the people that I'm blessed to be around and work with. So to every listener, I truly believe that you are a miracle maker and that you have it in you. And I hope that I have an opportunity, Shelley and Kathy, to continue our friendship, our relationship. And I am so eternally grateful for being invited to share, to speak, and to learn from you both.
And vice versa, Shenal. This has been super enlightening.
This is terrific.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's been an honor. Thank you, Shenal.
Thank you so much, ladies. Blessings.
Blessings to you, too. We hope you've enjoyed this latest episode. And if you want to hear more episodes of Women Road Warriors or learn more about our show, be sure to check out womenroadwarriors.com. And please follow us on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. On our website, we also have a selection of podcasts just for women. There are a series of podcasts from different podcasters. So if you're in the mood for women's podcasts, just click the Power Network tab on womenroadwarriors.com. You'll have a variety of shows to listen to anytime you want to. Podcasts made for women. Women Road Warriors is on all the major podcast channels like Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, YouTube, and others. Check us out. And please follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you want to be a guest on the show or have a topic or feedback, email us at sjohnson@womenroadwarriors.com.